Canada's AI minister met with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman today to discuss the company's safety protocols in the aftermath of the devastating BC school shooting last month. After the tragedy, it was revealed that the Tumbler Ridge shooter had used OpenAI's chatbot, ChatGPT, prior to the mass shooting. And even though the account was shut down over problematic entries, it was never flagged to police. Evan Solomon is the Minister of AI and Digital Innovation. He joins us from Toronto. Minister, tell us what came out of your meeting today with Sam Altman.
So I'd met with their senior safety leadership, as you know, Katie, last Tuesday. They then wrote a letter as we demanded extra details on their threshold escalation when they detect potential violence or a potential threat with their technology and then their human safety crew. Why didn't they escalate to police? They have admitted that back in June, they flagged it. They did not escalate. It was a devastating report to read, as you know. When I met with them, I demanded that they give us more details on their thresholds and their escalation thresholds and their safety protocols. They wrote a letter. We were disappointed in it. It had no details. I asked to speak to the CEO, Sam Altman. I spoke to Sam Altman today at 3:30. I told him that we were disappointed. I asked him for a number of things, which, Katie, I can tell you he's agreed to do, and I'm happy to let you know what they are. First of all, I asked him to make sure that the safety office inside OpenAI, what they do when they get a threat, Katie, is they report it to the FBI. I said they've got to start reporting directly to the RCMP. I met with their safety officials, with Gary Anandasangria, our public safety minister, who also demanded the same. So they have agreed now to establish direct contact with the RCMP and a unit there that directly deals with this kind of threat, so we get Canadian safety. I also made sure that they have Canadian. I asked him, we want Canadians to be in that safety office to assess Canadian threats, not Americans assessing Canadian threats. Canadian experts in Canadian law, experts in Canadian mental health. He agreed to do that. We want Canadians assessing any kind of threat. I also told him, look, it took 8 months between the flag and this horrific tragedy in Tumbler Ridge. Now you allege that your so-called new safety protocols would have flagged the shooter and this to law enforcement back in June of 2025. I asked him to go back for a full year and assess flags that have been raised in the last year that they did not report, but under their new system they say they would report, to reassess that. He agreed. And he said they're already doing that they're reassessing old flags, which is really important. And I also demanded that the Canadian AI Safety Institute, Katie, which is an institute that reports to me, will be in contact with his team, and I want those experts from the Canadian AI Safety Institute to give a full detailed assessment of their new so-called safety protocol so we can get a detailed understanding, not a press release, not a phone call, not a meeting, but the Canadian AI Safety Institute to have a detailed assessment of their technology, what they use for threat assessment, so I can get a better picture of that.
Okay, I have a number of follow-up questions, but I want to start with, did they give you any sense of going back and looking at flags under the new criteria, whether they've identified any active threats that are currently existing in the community? And did you get a sense of, if yes, how many and what are they doing about it?
All I got from him, and again, we will be following up, Katie, this is what I can report. I demanded that they go back and make an assessment on past decisions that did not get escalated to law enforcement. They are in the process of doing that. I have no other information. He did not give me any information that there's any new clear or present threat, or that they have now gone back and escalated something to law enforcement that under their so-called previous protocols, and I say so-called because I haven't seen the details, and the Canadian AI Safety Institute is going to really do some deep dive on the assessment of that so we can understand if it's actually meets criteria. But we do not know if they've actually gone back to law enforcement with anything. He did not give me any information on that.
So will it still be up to OpenAI and essentially other technology companies? Will they still be the ones that are determining what is a threat?
Let me just say there's multiple factors here, Katie. Number one priority is keeping Canadians safe. And the investigation is going on right now in Tumbler Ridge, and I'm not going to get into the details of it. Obviously, it's an ongoing case, and what happened, this horrific tragedy that unfolded, how it unfolded, and the details of it, we're going to assess. But first and foremost, I want to see what action, not just OpenAI, but I will be meeting again with other AI companies to look at protocols, because AI chatbots are an issue and a new technology, and we're looking at it. But I met with, the Justice Minister, the Minister of Heritage, Mark Miller, who's in charge of online harms. My ministry, I'm in charge of privacy and updating our privacy and data laws. That's very, very important. That's an element. The Public Safety Minister, and we are looking from all aspects, from the regulatory side. And as I said to OpenAI, I said to Sam Altman, and I'll say to you and Canadians, we will demand rigorous safety protocols from them, and all options are on the table from our side to make sure that Canadians are kept safe.
But in this moment, it is still up to them to decide what is worth flagging.
Yeah, remember, Katie, as soon as the report came out last Sunday, when we found out, we have met with them now twice. So yes, the first and most urgent way to get some safety urgently, the House isn't even sitting this week, is to make sure that their safety protocols change, their thresholds, we understand them, and to get some understanding. And this is a verify situation. We don't trust, we are going to verify. That's what the Canadian AI Safety Institute's about. But yes, we are seized with this, Katie. That's why the Public Safety Minister, the Justice Minister, myself, the Heritage Minister have all met about this with OpenAI. We continue to meet. I have spoken to my provincial and territorial counterparts who are very seized with this. You got to be, this is a new technology, these chatbots. These are new developing threats. We are going to be pragmatic, but we are moving very quickly to keep Canadians safe.
But I'm just looking to be clear so that, when we reassess this, it's still in this moment. I get that things don't change overnight, but in this moment, it is still up to the technology companies. They are the ones in charge of what to flag. Absolutely. Again, they are the ones that have the information. Okay.
I mean, the duty to, they are the ones. Look, there's an issue here of a technology of billions of interactions with people, and they have they are the ones that are in charge of these interactions. We don't have access to this. This is what we're trying to find out more about.
Fair enough.
Their protocols.
Fair enough.
Obviously we can't monitor these. But the first and foremost question is, how do we keep Canadians safe? One, by making sure their safety protocols are more rigorous, transparent, and available to Canadians. And two, putting options on the table so we can keep Canadians safe from a regulatory framework.
Okay, I have another quick question for you. Did you get a sense from the team or from Mr. Altman about what exactly was in this content that caused so much alarm and caused the discussion behind the scenes? Did they tell you what was in there?
Katie, it's an ongoing criminal investigation. I don't ask about the details. They're cooperating with the RCMP. The RCMP's investigating, and I'm going to be really clear. Two things. One, we're going to let this, we're going to do nothing to jeopardize the investigation by the RCMP. I'm not here to do the RCMP's work, but in general, they said their new protocols, what they call their new protocols, would have not only flagged this, but would have escalated this to law enforcement. That's the most they've said. What we are concerned about is, what are the new protocols? How do they determine what is an imminent threat, a clear and imminent threat? What are those thresholds? Who do they report to? Do Canadians have Canadian police, Canadian law enforcement experts, Canadian mental health experts? Are they on the ground? So through our lens, not an American lens, through a Canadian lens, we can determine how to keep our citizens safe.
The last thing I want to ask you is, did Mr. Altman at all offer an apology?
Katie, I know that Premier Eby, who is meeting with Sam Altman tomorrow, has asked for an apology. I will tell you, I said to Sam Altman, I absolutely support the demand for an apology that Premier Eby is asking for. I told Sam Altman that. I said the government and I personally support the request and demand for an apology to the families that Premier Eby has asked for. I will let Premier Eby have that discussion. He has asked for it. He's the Premier of British Columbia. I will tell you, I fully support that. Sam Altman said he will tell the Premier what he's going to tell him. He expressed to me horror and responsibility in general for not flagging. This is why they're making changes. But I will tell you, I'm not going to preempt the Premier's request. And again, this is emotional territory here. The Premier's been to Tumbler Ridge. It's in his province. But I fully support his request, and I conveyed that to Sam Altman.
Horror and responsibility, that is a significant sort of step in that moment. Evan Solomon, the Minister of AI and Digital Innovation, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Katie.